Are you aware of what your emotions are trying to tell you? Do you question why you're getting frustrated and angry? Do you introspect when you get triggered? The thing is, our triggers are our biggest guides, our biggest teachers, and in learning how to question them and to assess them and address them head on, we can learn how to release them for good. My name is Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. We often blame the external. We often get frustrated and angry, and we blame the situation. But the situation isn't the root cause. There's always an underlying problem. We're not really getting frustrated with the person or the thing. We're actually just unearthing something that's already there. You know, our wounds aren't our fault, but our healing is our responsibility. So it's in going within and asking yourselves those hard questions that you can truly release what's been there for a long time. Because this is the thing, the reason we're getting angry and frustrated is because we've bottled up our emotions. We've bottled up our feelings. We've buried our wounds. That pressure cooker is going to explode. It's like a volcanic eruption waiting to go off. That's what it is. The more we bury stuff, the more we don't address it, the more volatile it's going to get. And that's like, you know, this is the thing. We think that if we don't see it out of sight, out of mind, it's not really there. And we continue our whole lives thinking that, you know, if I'm not thinking about this trauma, this pain, then it's grand, I've healed. But no, you've just ignored it. And like, you know, I've said this so many times, you know, if you keep putting trauma on top of trauma, pain on top of pain, it's going to come out in unhealthy ways. And that's going to be anger, frustration, emotions. And like, you know, obviously emotions are good. That's a great way to release. But we don't want to be getting angry, do we? And like, you know, I've been working on, you know, my anger issues for a very, very long time. You know, and we often say this, and I said it, you know, I came from an angry family, or, you know, I came from a fiery family. I was born this way. You were not born angry. Were you really a baby who came out of the womb and said, I'm a fucking angry person because I was born into an angry family? No, you learned that behavior. But it's because of our traumatic childhood or past relationships that we get more and more angry as well. It's not just learned behavior from family, it's also the stuff that we've been through. And after, when we ignore this stuff, it will come out in anger, frustration. And, you know, I was reading this thing yesterday. You know, why are we getting so angry with, what was it, like, you know, the train is late, or the barista is slow, or you're waiting in a line for long, and you're getting so fucking angry, you're like, oh my God, you know, I'm in a rush. And like, I used to do this as well. My blood would be boiling, the computer wouldn't work in work, it would be down, and you'd be like, oh, you know, so angry. And I could feel it. That's not good for your health. That is not good for your health. But why are we getting so frustrated and angry with tiny little things in our lives? You know what I mean? And this is because there's deep-seated emotions within us. There's really a lot of stuff that needs to be unearthed. So you have to see your triggers as your guides, your teachers. And this is the thing as well. We blame the external. We blame that barista. We blame the fucking train driver for being late. We blame that person in front of us for being slow. And you know, it's just like, hold on now a second. Are you really angry with that person? Or is there something within you that needs to be released? You know, for example, like you obviously lack patience if you're not able to wait for a few minutes for a coffee or for your train, you know, or you're frustrated that you're going to be late for work, all this kind of stuff. But is it really the end of the world? Like, you know, for example, like, you know, for me, you know, I used to rush around the place all the time. It was terrible. Like, you know, and that was learned behavior, just running around the place. And I used to be working in my jobs and I'd be flying around the place. The adrenaline would be 90. Like, you know, I worked in a meat factory. You know, I was a supervisor in the packing area, but I'd be hands-on. And obviously some of the bags, you know, the backpack bags would be bloody. And, you know, I'd be pushing along and I'd be like this, my hands would be covered in blood. I'm like, Jesus, wipe them on the apron, and I'd go again, and then my hands would be covered in blood again. I'm like, that's my blood. You know, I'd be going so fast, I'd be after cutting myself. Every day I'd go into the office and my hand would be up like this. It's like, they'd be like, what did you do this time, Angela? I had to get a plaster, like, because I was rushing all the time. I didn't feel it because I was going through adrenaline. But like I was just constantly rushing. And if you're constantly rushing, if you're overtaking that tractor because you're late for work, because you didn't leave early enough, that's dangerous. It can be dangerous. You know, on my deck outside my house, the step is about that high. And I was rushing out one day and I came down on my ankle. I heard it pop and I was like, oh my God, I won't be able to walk, I won't be able to drive, I won't be able to do anything. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And that was the moment of wake up for me. It was like, I have to slow down. But why was I rushing in the first place? I have to ask myself these questions. Why do I need to be somewhere so quickly? Why can't I take my time? And you know, in learning what was inside me that was in such a rush, I was able to slow down. Now if I get stuck behind a tractor, I'm like, I've left in plenty of time and the universe is just teaching me patience. This is all things that we can be aware of, you know. And other things like, you know, if a person does something to piss you off, you know, you blame that person for ruining your day. But what's inside you that you can heal so that person can't piss you off anymore? It's that simple. You know, you have to get to a place where somebody else's actions don't change your emotions or behavior. This is it, like, you know. So ask yourself, what is this trigger? What is this trigger trying to tell me? What can I do internally to not feel this way anymore? And it is that simple. It's like, instead of blaming something external, we can actually take responsibility for our own emotions, our own frustration, our own anger, our own impatience, because there is always an underlying cause. You know what I mean? And like, I've done this all the time. Like, you know, I know when I'm having a healing cycle is what I call it. You know what I mean? Where I'm in the depths of this healing and there's a lot of emotions or unworthiness coming up or frustration or anger, whatever it is. And the simplest of things are just going to annoy me, like, you know what I mean? Like something on my phone, if I hit the wrong button, I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? Or, you know, if I hit off something, it's just like, I'm just getting so frustrated. But I know that means I have to sit down and go, here, what the fuck is going on? What do I need to release? And once I work with what's inside me, you know, and once I release what's inside me, and, you know, I'll purge out through crying as well. Like, I think crying is the most beneficial way of releasing your emotions. It's better than being angry. You know what I mean? I'd rather sit there, watch a Disney movie and bawl my eyes out because I need to purge and heal than be angry with myself or my animals. Because, you know, you're going to be angry with the people closest to you. So if you actually do live with people, you're going to take that anger out on them. And I've done that years ago as well, you know, with friends or family. You know, it's like the closest person to you, you're going to take out your frustrations on them. And if you've got pets, the poor things are going to hear you shouting, and it's not nice. You know what I mean? So you have to keep asking yourself, like, why am I angry today? What's inside me that I need to release? What is this trigger trying to tell me? Every single time. And I you know, people are triggered by the word trigger. I've seen this. People are actually triggered by the word trigger. And it's like, yeah, because you have something to heal. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and this is it. What triggers your anger? What triggers your pain? What triggers your emotion is something that's deep within you. What is underlying? What is the cause of this problem? You know, and for me, for a long time, I was going through, you know, a lot of anger issues. And obviously that was inherited anger. It was also, you know, a lot to do with my past and my childhood, my past relationships. So I went through like two kind of stages. Well, there were multiple stages, but two different kinds of anger. And I realized it was my inner child anger. You know, and it was self-anger. Oftentimes we get angry with other people and we're actually angry with ourselves. That's one of the biggest ones I've had to learn, that I've been angry with myself and resentful towards myself for things I've done in the past, for people I've attracted in the past. And I had to forgive myself for that. So oftentimes you have to ask yourself, am I angry with this situation or am I angry with myself? And what parts of myself can I heal in order to no longer be angry with myself? So this self-anger is one of the biggest ones, which would be a big trigger. You know, ask yourself, oh, why am I angry today? And if you introspect, if you ask yourself those questions, like a lot of people journal. They'll journal down their thoughts. What I actually do is have one-to-one conversations with myself. You know what I mean? We have an unconscious mind. Our unconscious mind dictates 95%, is it 95%? Yeah, of what our life. And like, for when I started to realize that our unconscious mind buries so much of our past traumas, memories, whatever it is, as a form of protection. And it's because this stuff is buried that we have triggers or emotions or unhealed wounds. So it's actually in asking my unconscious mind questions as if they were a separate entity that I was able to get answers. I named my unconscious mind George at one stage. And I was just sitting there kind of going, here, George, what can you tell me? And, and that's what I do every day now. If I'm going through anything, I'm like, ask myself, why am I feeling this? But do it as a one-to-one conversation. Because, if it's just a flighty question, it's not going to work. You ask yourself that question, and that part of you will actually answer. It's a really, really good tool. Carl Jung speaks about it as well as a tool for individuation. You can only really get to know yourself if you talk to yourself. They say talking to yourself is crazy, but it's actually the most sanest thing you could ever do. And like, what is that phrase? Talking to yourself is crazy, but once you don't talk back to yourself, you're fine. Like, no, talk back to yourself. Have that two-way conversation. You know what I mean? It's awesome. Like, I'm lucky I live on my own because, like, if anyone heard me, they would think I was crazy. But in actual fact, it's the most sanest thing to do. So ask yourself those deep questions. Why am I feeling emotional today? Why am I feeling triggered today? Where is this anger coming from? And when my anger got really, really bad, and this was only a few months ago, I really had to go deep, and I had to say, what am I angry with? Who am I angry with? And I was angry with myself. I held so much inner resentment and self-anger for certain things that I'd attracted in the past, mistakes I'd made. But everything we've done or everything we've gone through has been a part of our lessons and our growth. And nothing was a mistake. Everything was a part of our divine plan. And in accepting that and understanding that it was never ever my fault, anything that I went through or did, yes, I made certain choices, but I made choices based on my wounding and my healing, or my lack of healing. But this is the thing, we can't, we get frustrated every day if we make mistakes or if we do something wrong or if something goes wrong. But you can actually make your life run a lot smoother if you spend that time introspecting and doing that deep inner healing. You know what I mean? We constantly, when we're avoiding ourselves, we're constantly met with more things to get us angry and frustrated. It's a way of, like, I suppose it is a way of the universe bringing triggers into our lives so that we will do the work. But if we don't listen to that, it will just seem like our whole life is a constant never-ending trigger, really, because everything seems to go wrong. But everything will continue to feel wrong in your life unless you get to know yourself, unless you stop blaming the external for your problems and start understanding that you have a responsibility to take care of yourself, to release your wounding and to release that healing. So it's just getting to know yourself is, I suppose it's the biggest reward you'll ever have. I know we avoid our healing because we're afraid of what we're going to see. We're afraid of that darkness. We're afraid of that trauma. We're afraid of our demons. And, we'll drink alcohol or take drugs or, overwork or make ourselves so busy so that we don't have to actually sit there with our thoughts. And we'll avoid silence. For me, I avoided silence at all costs. It was just like, oh my God, I can't be on the silence. Do you know what I mean? Turn on the radio quick. But like now, like, oh my God, I just love it. And I love it. Nature. Being outside in the garden or out in nature with complete silence. It really bugs me. It actually bugs me. I'll be walking in the forest and someone will walk past me and they'll have earphones in. And I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Listening to fucking, I don't know, music or podcasts while you're walking. Take out the earphones. Listen to the nature, listen to the birds, listen to the breeze, listen to the trees, listen to your own thoughts for 5 minutes. Ask yourself those questions out in nature and oh my God, the answers just come instantly. If you're having a bad day, go outside for 5 minutes, stand in the grass barefoot and just ask the question, what can I do to heal? What is going on? And angels, like, we forget that we think we're doing everything on our own. We have a divine angel team, a spirit team. Our passed on loved ones are there as well to help us every step of the way. And I forget this sometimes, but when I'm going through something really bad, it's just like, oh, it's so frustrating. How do I get through this? But then I just ask my angels and I'm like, angels, just please tell me, what do I need to do in order to heal this? And almost instantly, I will get a download or an answer, and I'm like, oh, duh. It's that simple. I can do this. I understand it now. So these are the most important things you can do to alleviate your emotion or your triggers and understand your emotions. Being aware of your emotions. What are your emotions trying to tell you? Because every emotion, every feeling, every bit of anger, every bit of frustration, it's there to tell you something. It's there to show you more parts of yourself. It's there to help you to heal, to release everything that you need to release. And this avoidance is what leads us to get excessively angry. This avoidance is what gets us emotional or frustrated all the time. And as I said, the best way to get it out of your system is to cry. And, even if you do need to scream, just get it out. But, understand what you're getting out. And I'll be in the depths of a really deep healing cycle. And I will be going through that anger, frustration, and the purging. And I'll be screaming, so I will. And, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I understand the core of the problem now because I asked those questions. And now I know that this is a temporary situation. And after I release this, after I do the healing work, it's going to be gone. I'm going to feel lighter. And I just, obviously I still get a little bit frustrated at times, but I don't get angry anymore. And, I have to keep check on that all the time because we can all relapse if we're not doing the consistent work. You can't just heal a little bit and think, oh, I'm fine. There's a constant healing cycles going on. And once we understand that and once we are aware of that, we can keep check on our emotions all the time. Keep check on your feelings all the time. And it's really good as well. It's really good when you're in communication with others to wait. Don't react to a situation. Wait for a minute and respond. Because oftentimes, if somebody sends us a message that we might not, it might not be the message we want to hear, we can actually retaliate in a uneasy behavior and say something we regret. So take those minutes to pause. Take those minutes to ask yourself, why am I angry with these words? Why am I angry with what they said? Why am I angry with what they didn't say? And then you can actually process things more and communicate with people better. That's another really good thing to come of understanding your emotions and being in check with your emotions all the time. So this is really important to do. So start talking to yourself. You're not crazy. It's the best way to heal yourself. Even journal if you want. Meditation is a great way to calm yourself as well. Deep breathing is very good as well. So all these things can really help with getting to know yourself and understanding why you're triggered in the first place. Because your triggers are your responsibility. So anything that does trigger you is not the other person's fault. It all is down to you, and it's trying to show you what you can heal. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.